My old band, we toured with Dragon Force
Really?
End of 2004. That's how old I am.
Wow.
But yeah, we were my old band Renegade Playboys. We did supposed to be an 11 show tour. It ended up being a 10 show tour for us because our bus exploded.
Oh Jesus, that's a rock and roll story.
That's sort of an exaggeration, but no. Basically, we were driving and smoke came through the bus. We had this old hospital bus that we bought for about £500 or something. We were like, oh, that's great. We can like pile all the stuff in the back. We can sleep in it if we have to.
It's not about
loving the Fuzzy poster, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's
not they were.
It drives me mental, but it is signed. So
they were great. I saw them promote a friend of mine. I just knew a few songs really, and I went and saw them, and they were brilliant. They're like Skid Row, but with like a wrestler front of them. It's great.
You've just came home from a very long day. The fridge is like nearly empty, but you have bread and a few ingredients. What is the ultimate sandwich? Like, what is the best sandwich you could make here? Hello, welcome to an episode, I don't remember what one, of the Uncensored podcast. It's been a few weeks due to technical difficulties and personal issues, but we're here and we have another guest.
Hey!
We have Dave from the band Star Circus this week.
Yeah.
Very nice to have you on.
Episodes are
Very
always
nice to have you on, mate.
Someone other than Tom.
Yeah, he gets really awkward when he's just sitting there talking to me. So, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good. Yeah.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So, Star Circus. When did it start off? I'm going to start straight off with the questions. So, how did Star Circus come to where it is now?
Okay, so Star Circus started. I was playing in a couple of bands with a few people, and I had all these songs that I'd written over the years, really, that didn't really work out. In a couple of them had worked out in old bands, and I just sort of carried them across. But there was sort of this collection of songs that I built up, and there was sort of a lull where, except for sort of tribute bands and things that I was doing, there wasn't much going on, and I just decided I was going to make an album. Got Tony Wilson, the producer, on board before I had a band or anything really to do it, and then just played him a load of demos of the songs. And 4 years later, it's finally we finally got the masters back of the album, and sorting out a PR campaign, and it will be released this year. The announcement, you're about a week or two early for the announcement. It's going to be with the single that's coming out on the 26th. So that's what I should be announcing. We've got Bridges, the fourth single from the album, is coming out on the 26th. So
we should have had you on the 30th.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, but yeah, there's that to announce, and PR campaigns, if you look them up, you'll see how long they are. So you can probably guess roundabout where it's coming out from the 26th onwards. So, but yeah, I'm saving that announcement for the 26th. But yeah, so that's how it started with this album, sort of going back in time to where we were, and then we did a single, "Love Is the Enemy," about 2.5 years ago. I did a release party, put a band together for that, and then I kind of thought, you know what, I actually want this to be a band, not a solo project, vanity thing. That's why I called it Star Circus. I didn't really want Dave Winkler on people's t-shirts. It just didn't. I mean, Bryan Adams and people like that, they get away with it, but it just felt a bit. Like I wanted to be a band name, and then I wanted it to be a band. And I had a bunch of guys play that. And then lockdown happened imminently after our debut show, really, about a month and a half after that. And bass player went back to the Czech Republic, and thought about a couple of guys. And then I was like, hang on a sec, Sophie's played piano and violin since she was a kid. How do you fancy playing bass? So Sophie became a bass player during lockdown, basically, and joined the band at that point. And a couple of lineup changes later with the other guys, and here we are.
Awesome.
Yeah, here we are today.
Yeah,
I tend to babble on a lot.
Yeah, that's fine. That's completely fine. I know that you've definitely played with one of mine and Riley's friends. You've not played with them. You've played at the same gig as them, basically. South of Salem, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I saw those guys. Yeah. Prior to that, I'd seen them supporting, playing at the Islington Academy, and they were on the bill. We know the Holloway. I always get Holloway Hell and Holloway Strip mixed up. The Holloway Strip guys, really well, and basically that was a last minute thing. They had another band booked, and I think a couple of them got COVID, and got a phone call about one in the afternoon. How do you fancy playing the Grace Hyper in Islington? And I live literally just off the same road that's on, but about 2 miles up. It's a really long road, Holloway Road. So just jumped on a bus, and 3 hours after I was asked, I was playing a gig basically, and hadn't even had a shower. So sadly missed. I'd seen South of Salem and they're great, but I missed a couple of bands because I was like, it was one of the hottest days of the heat wave, and I was like, I need to get back and have a shower. So run back out of the shower, came back for the end of South of Salem, and then went to the club night afterwards. So that was fun. Yeah. So
their lead singer is I'm quite good friends with their lead singer. He's just a brilliant guy.
Yeah. I was had a good chat with a guitar player backstage. He seemed like a good bloke there.
To be fair, they all
the
are.
eyeliner and tattoos. Yeah.
Cody, I think is Cody.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
That is something that, especially since we've started like a little podcast and had a few guests on, is like the rock scene just has the nicest people. Like the scarier they look, the more likely they're just completely like sound individuals. Like we've yet to met one that we go, oh, I don't actually like you. Like they've all been really like nice. It's weird because it like you look at them and go, God, he's scary, and like, but no, they're all really friendly. So
it might even go hand in hand with it. If you look kind of like a bit out there and scary, you kind of almost want to come across as nice to kind of like, not if you're a scary person and also you look scary, like no one's going to ever talk to you. Whereas I guess I don't know, not scary. I mean, when I first started going out to rock nights and rock clubs, I was apprehensive of like these older rockers being like, oh, who are you? Well, you look about 13. What were you doing here? Sort of thing. And then it was just the friendliest crowd. I'd gone to all kinds of indie clubs and dance clubs growing up in London, where you got your group of friends at school that were into all different music, and then just really found my people really in the rock community, because it's a very friendly community. Like any community, there's drama and there's all kinds of stuff going on, but it's I agree basically. Yeah.
To be fair, I think the rock scene is going to be my place forever, to be fair, because I just love it all. It's just fun.
Yeah. I can see by the Guns N' Roses.
You can see by the millions of got loads. Got Old Bridge.
Piston there. I know Rob really well. Yep. We nearly did a project.
We know we met Brad, their drummer, back when they were supporting the treatment. They are they're like the most just friendliest guys ever.
Definitely.
Because I still talk to Jack, Jack, the guitarist. I still talk to him, and he's just.
I know Jack as well. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, he was in. a Guns N' Roses tribute. We actually never played together. He was in it in a period where I didn't play with him, and then I was the kind of their secondary Izzy Stradlin, basically, in Guns Two Roses. So every time Niall,
really,
their main guy, couldn't do it, I was drafted in to be the other Izzy, left-handed Izzy, unfortunately, which looked kind of weird, but yeah, Jack was their guitar player for I think a couple of years on and off. With tribute bands, you always have people coming and going, and it's only really Gav, the singer, who's a very good friend of mine. He's the constant in that band, but so I know the guy quite well. Yeah.
So
cool. Sorry, that was a bit boring.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's fine. I mean, it's a podcast. We need to fill it with stories, otherwise it's going to be like a Spotify advert. Like we need the length.
Spotify advert.
Oh god. Right, but inspirations. So musically, especially, like your sound. Who do you like take inspiration from? Like what bands? Or do you think that like you're entirely like a first of your kind?
We're a first of our kind.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that. You can't invent everything that's invented that's new. I believe is being kind of instinctive and being kind of interesting with combining different influences, being innovative. That's the word I'm looking for. Innovative.
Definitely.
With putting something, whether you're going to mix fucking, excuse my language, dubstep with black metal or whatever, and try and combine it together, or something like that. Not that would be anything I would do, but like it's all about drawing from things from the past, I reckon.
It's just like trying new stuff, like keeping it fresh, keeping it creative.
I mean, Ghost, a prime example of that, I would say, having seen them, and really like just because earlier today I watched the new Spillways video, and combining the kind of darker sort of satanic imagery with stuff that sounds like Styx and Def Leppard and ABBA. Kind of that's and you'll get a load of metalheads going, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting them to sound like black metal, and they don't at all. And I think that's the genius of it, and that's why they've gone from supporting a lot of bands to playing arenas, and because I mean, as new influences go, I'm really we don't sound anything like them, but I'm quite inspired by them, because they're just fascinating in how they've combined different things that you wouldn't normally put together. I love really my love of rock started with Queen, with their Freddie Mercury tribute concert. I'm older than most people. Hopefully, I don't know. You might think I'm 50 or something, but no, I'm in my early 40s now, and he's gone. He's back.
He's back.
I'm back. Yeah,
rotation.
There we go.
This happens every episode.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You can stay sideways if you want. It makes it a bit more interesting.
Exactly. Mix it up.
Oh, don't. This is why we try and avoid Zoom. Never mind. If it happens, it happens.
Sorry, man. Yeah, no. Skype was just going round and round, and then telling me I wouldn't let me log in, and then.
Don't worry, this podcast is no stranger to technical problems. Last episode, I literally couldn't go out because my audio was missing. like we recorded an entire episode. I sat down following morning to like chop it all together and went, oh, I'm completely mute. Like I didn't realize while recording, and I check it back the next morning, and like near the end there was just 10 minutes like solid where there is no audio whatsoever, and for the rest I am just unhearable. So I was like, I don't think I can post that. So I ended up having to take a few weeks off while I fixed that. But
I'm used to this. With years ago, I played did a short tour with a singer called Annabella Lewin. She was in a band called Bow Wow Wow in the 80s. If you know, I Want Candy.
Oh yeah.
Like that song, basically. It was like this new wave thing sort of around the time of Adam Ant and all those kind of bands. And she sort of did a comeback, and the drummer was actually the former drummer of Wasp. So I did a tour with in a band with a guy who was in Wasp and stuff. So that was pretty cool. But she was based in LA, and she was like auditioning me and like 3 other guitarists, and she wanted to do it over Skype and was insisting that the delay was minimal, it wouldn't be a problem. And so she wanted me to play all these songs on the acoustic for her to sing over it. And obviously she's about 2 seconds behind me, and I ended up having to fade her down so I didn't get distracted by her singing in her timing. So she thought she was in time with me and thought what I was doing was great, but I had to turn her off so I could play in time, because she's about 2 seconds behind me in what I'm playing, and I'm like, this is really confusing. I keep slowing down and stuff to try and then she'll slow down more to kind of so it ended up that was the joys of digital communication and Skype and stuff.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
I have to pay attention to me while I'm constantly hopping in and out.
Yeah. Well, it's been all right since you were sideways, I think. You're back now. But
this tends to happen. Yeah. Tom just like kind of disappears and leaves me to hold down conversation for a little bit.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So far, this is the only episode where we haven't had massive technical problems, though.
My internet is just down. It ain't massive. I wouldn't say it's massive. I'll just say it's a bit better than the last episode, definitely. Totally not 12 times there, was it?
Oh god, our last episode was complete chaos. My camera was like completely broken. Tom's internet was non-existent. It was a very messy one, but it was good. It was good.
Chaos. It was chaos.
Was that the one with the guy from Massive Wangers?
Yeah.
That
one.
Well,
it all just cut. It was fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's the point of this podcast, especially in the early stages. Like, we're not like Joe Rogan. We're not here expecting we've got these grand, high quality shit going on. We're here having fun, like talking to people, like learning the stories behind their bands and stuff. Like, we're just like 2 geezers who like music, who thought, let's express that we like music once a week at Thursday, 4 p.m. So yeah. It's not about
loving the fuzzy poster, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's got a grip, which drives me mental, but it is signed. So
they were great. I saw them promote a friend of mine. I just knew a few songs really, and I went and saw them, and they were brilliant. They said they're like Skid Row, but with like a wrestler front of them. It's great. But like there weren't hardly any. I knew more of the people backstage in the crew.
Help me, please. I should be back again. That's number 3.
I knew more people in the crew involved than I did in the audience, and it was like all wrestling fans. And I'm like, that's cool, but it was almost a shame. It's like, this is a great rock band. Like, why aren't there more people I know from sort of the London rock scene at the show, rather than just people there being, it's a wrestler doing his band. But yeah, they were really good live. So.
Me and Tom had the pleasure to be part of the. I say this every week, but we were part of the Ultimate Fozzy Fan Fest.
It's not very what's the word? Impressive.
It was. He's lying. It was the greatest experience of my life. Just for the name, we were already VIP, so we got to like talk to Chris Jericho, which that's obviously gonna be a sick experience. We got a signed poster, which the little rip in the corner has made it lose any retail value. And I also have a signed T-shirt over there, which I do need to frame at some point.
I've got mine framed. My frame's down here. But I bought a drum skin as well. I just carried that around me the whole night.
Oh, that was nightmare. He had like the drum skin that like he's got. We literally had to lug that around the entire concert because we got to hear their latest album all the way back in December. Because
I
he couldn't.
I would have thought it would be bought at the end, not at the beginning. So you had to carry it around the whole day.
No, he bought it at the beginning.
You wanted to get it before anyone else did.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly.
So for all 12 songs of the album, we were just there waving the big drum skin about. It was not fun. But I mean,
now the drum skin is housing Seth Rogen's face. So it's
looks like a floor tom. Looks like a floor tom. It's not a bass drum.
I believe it is a floor tom.
Yeah, I know my drums.
Yeah.
Well, what were we talking about? Influences.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I went way off on a tangent since then.
Oh, I think we all did. It's fine.
It doesn't matter.
That's kind of our entire branding.
Tangents are my speciality, so
Oh, it's ours too. That's why we named ourselves Uncensored, so we could just put all of the massive sidetracks as part of the brand.
Yeah, best sidetracks, greatest hits at the end of the year.
Exactly.
Exactly.
All of our best moments have been sidetracks. So
that's cool, man. So Freddie Mercury tribute concert. I was 11. That was on TV all over the world. My parents were away. I was at my nan's. And I just remember being this little 11-year-old, like running around playing air guitar before I even knew the phrase air guitar. Just go, like this is great. I'd always loved, even with like the pop music on the radio, like Duran and all that stuff in the 80s. I'd always loved sort of guitar sounds. But
I'm pretty sure my mum went to that concert. I'm pretty sure
she went. Wow.
I'm pretty sure she went.
That would have been awesome.
I think she did at least. I'll ask her after.
Yeah, I mean, I was 11, so on the assumption that your mum is a fair bit older, but not that much older, she probably was that sort of era. Like, it was an amazing. Yeah. I mean, have you seen it? Or seen any of it on DVD?
I haven't.
It's watch Extreme. Do you know the band Extreme?
Yep. I know the band because my mum fucking loves them.
The medley. She probably loves them because what they did is probably the greatest, in my opinion, it's the greatest piece of live music of all time ever. They basically came up, all the bands, like some of the bands, Metallica, Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, basically all the rockier end of the bands, they did this opening there were about 4 or 5 of them that did a 3-4 song opening set. Metallica did 3 songs from the Black Album. Guns N' Roses did like Knocking on Heaven's Door and Paradise City, I think. The Extreme came out, did a medley of 12, something like ridiculous, like 12 Queen songs going straight into one into the other, just like a verse and a chorus or a bit, just seamlessly, all the tempo changes. You can watch the whole thing. It's about 8-10 minutes long on YouTube. 3-part harmonies that sound like about 10 people singing, like just because 3 of them, the bass player and the guitarist and singer, just got the most unbelievable voices, and it's just like jaw dropping. It's so good. It just perfectly. They're just straight into like from Radio Gaga into Bohemian Rhapsody into like Fat Bottom Girls. It's just completely mental, and it's like, what the hell was that?
So
yeah. And then just got an acoustic out and did More Than Words.
Yeah, my mum tried to. I think my mum told me. Yeah.
Sorry, I think you're cutting out on my end at least.
I think he's gone.
I am.
Oh, there we go.
I am cutting out. I'm
back.
cutting out. Bear with me. I'm here.
I think you're back. You were a second ago.
Yeah.
Something about your mum and Extreme.
I think. Yeah. She told me to try and find the actual concert. Well, not the concert, the set that they did. I still couldn't find it to this day. So
you can see the whole thing on YouTube. Have a look. Just go to Extreme Queen medley. It's out there. There might not be acoustic stuff afterwards. I wasn't really, but just the bit before was amazing. More Than Words was fine.
Yeah.
They sung it in tune, and it's all good. They might have done Love of My Life as well, I think, from what I remember. Yeah, this was all on TV, and I was like, what the hell is this? This is what I want to do in my life. So it really started with those bands, and then, you know, as you did in the 90s before YouTube and everything, you wait up till till 1 a.m. with your double cassette deck trying to record things off the radio and go, oh, new Guns N' Roses singles out, and kind of wait through all this pop music that you don't like and everything, like, and just go, yeah, it's on, and just try and record it off the radio, and go out to shops, and eventually found a great secondhand store, and I was like, oh yeah, like Metallica were on, you know, they were good. Oh, Iron Maiden, like they were an influence on them all. Black Sabbath, you just end up working your way back through to, you know, all the way back to like the Stones and Bowie and everything else, and that's kind of really how I got into it and how I got into playing. And it was just watching great guitar players and hearing great guitar players on TV, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And it was like, do I want to be a singer? Do I want to be a guitar player? And I kind of, for a while, I was, for the majority of the time I've been playing, I've been a guitar player. And then, because despite the beard, you can't really see it now, my face looks a lot like Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, I ended up getting a gig in a Aussie tribute band, and that really got me more into being a front person, which kind of gave me the courage to sort of front Star Circus myself, rather than being a guitar player who writes songs, who goes, you sing this, you're the singer. Which yeah, and so yeah, I try my best to sing most of it in tune, and that's about it, really.
Yeah.
So you can do, just try your best.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Next question.
I'm having trouble reading my list that I've got on my floor. What like current like bands that you've been, like, what are the current bands that you've been listening to at the moment? Like have you found any new bands or anything that you've been listening to?
New bands wise, I mean, I mentioned before, like, I really, yeah, they're not that new anymore, I guess. I really like the new Ghost album. That's like an obvious choice because a lot of, you know, they're taking over the world at the moment. But yeah, I've got my mind's gone blank now that you've asked that question. I've been kind of, I think recently there's an old band that have come over that are not that well known over here, that they're coming over at the end of the month, called Lillian Axe, who I'm kind of rediscovering some of their catalogue at the moment, because they're playing the Underworld, and they're actually playing a day we're playing, but we're on a few hours before, so I'm going to try and see if we can get away and go and watch them on the 27th. Yeah. And
I'll just speak over to that, Kill.
What's happening?
I just continue speaking over him. He'll come back eventually.
Okay. Sorry for making you use Zoom again.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's still like our best like running podcast so far. I mean, other than Tom disappearing, like, it's been pretty smooth sailing, which I like, because usually there is always one issue.
I think for some reason I have quite good reception from here. Like, as I said, we had that Google meeting a few days ago, and it was really seamless. Like, so yeah. Luckily, maybe it's that. Maybe my room is wonderful.
Yeah, I think Tom just has bad luck. I'm plugged into the internet. If I wasn't, I'd be worse than Tom. Like,
my room's just always been like the worst for internet, so
Right.
yeah.
so I can't help it, sadly.
That's all right.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So been checking out a few of the bands we're playing with. Gorilla Riot Blues Band. We're doing a gig on the 2nd of September. Sorry, my brain's going with months. 2nd of September, we're going up to the Midlands to Wolverhampton, and so just been checking some of the new bands on the bill that we're doing shows with, there's a few great bands out there. Trident Waters are another one that we've done some shows with, who are really, really great 3-piece. They sound a bit like the Black Crows, who are like a 6-piece, but there's only 3 of them, so pretty good going. That's what I've told them anyway. But as soon as we finish this, I'll be like, I've been listening to them and I completely forgot to mention
I'm
it.
like that with the shopping. Like, whenever I get asked, is there anything you want with the shop? I'm like, no. And then it comes, I'm like, oh no, yeah, I wanted that. Like, it's always the same. It's like you never remember things and you need it. Right. So it's going to automatically cut out in like just under 6 minutes, so I have to start a new one. So I've got a short question here. So I've asked this for every guest I've had on so far. It started with our first guest. So, like, do you go home and listen to the music that you make, or like just casually, like you just sit back and like slap some on?
I do. Part of that is just I haven't downloaded much onto my phone. So the things I have downloaded are about 5 different mixes of the same song as it progresses. So I end up just lying in bed, like if I haven't got if I'm on the unless I've got good internet, but if I haven't if I'm on the tube or something, for instance, and I've got I just end up listening to different mixes of my songs. But I do kind of listen. Yeah, I'll listen back to stuff, and then I'll, once it's done, I'll get a bit sick of it, and then I'll come back later and go, actually, that wasn't that bad, or like, what was I thinking? That could have sounded way better if I'd done this and stuff like that. So you can't help listen from like an analytical sort of point of view when you're when you're listening to your own stuff, and you're like, does my voice sound okay? Does it sound shit?
Yeah. Oh, I'm like that when I have to go back and edit the podcast. I'm always like especially when it comes, because in a podcast there has to be some level of comedy, and so I find myself, I will watch back like the same clip and go, now what is it funny? And I mean, I don't cut anything, I don't care that much, but like I'll watch back and go, I thought that was so funny when I recorded it, and I'll watch it back and go, that's a bit shit on it. Like
he'll just find every clip of me cutting out just funny.
Oh yeah,
just because it's ironic, because it doesn't happen when we do it on Skype. It just happens whenever we're on Zoom. It's all convenient. It's all on Zoom.
If I can be bothered, right here is going to be a segment of every time Thomas has cut out up until this point. I'm just going to clip a bunch of clips from this episode already that he's just disappeared, because I think it's been at least 4.
I think it has been 4. Let's hope it sticks with 4.
He just blips. He just completely blips out and then comes back occasionally.
The record for it is currently 12. So
yeah, that was last.
It's kind of become part of your character, I suppose.
Oh yeah, completely.
That's the character.
Yeah,
Tom, the guy that just disappears out of nowhere.
The way he fades into the background,
and then just comes back, but on the side.
He asks his
I'll
questions
come back to
and then
stop
just
that.
leaves.
I'll ask my question. I just ask my question, and then I just go, right, I've heard enough, I'm going.
He's like a reverse genie. Like he gives you a wish, then he disappears. Like, can you answer this? cool. I won't be here to hear it, but it's the thought that counts.
I can hear it when it's on YouTube. So is it about to? You about to?
Oh, we have 2 minutes 27 seconds. So if you have anything,
could I ask you about Romford quickly?
Go ahead.
Is it either you guys old enough to remember a place called the Tech in Romford?
I don't think so.
I don't know if it exists anymore. That's where
I don't reckon.
I'm near Romford, but I don't think I remember it at all. I don't go out in Romford enough.
Right. Yeah.
I
no,
used
this
to
was
be pretty Romford, but I mean, then I moved a bit further east. So
okay.
yeah.
So you've heard about because you meant I remember you mentioned Romford.
Yeah.
When we started chatting.
It was me who mentioned Romford.
There was this this venue that my old band Renegade Playboys, we used to play there, and just loved the fact that there was a sign saying strictly over 15s or something. It was like, welcome to Essex. It's great.
I think I know where that might be. I think I know where that might be now. I think that might be the actual club that's in Romford now.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it had
this shit.
It had like two stages either side of the venue. That's what I remember.
I ain't been to it. I know that this is the only real club in Romford is called Attic, which is like it's like a free floor, like different types of music.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Not the best, right. But
so with less than a minute, you mentioned Essex and how it's a bit of a shithole. So I'm going to use the rest of this time because on Sunday I went to Kent for an event, and okay, I'm gonna spend the rest of this time talking about how much I hate Kent. Right? I'm sorry.
No.
I think it's the most bland place a man can visit. It's like, imagine if Scunthorpe took up an entire county. Like, I can't think of anything interesting I saw while in Kent. Like, there is trees that I am perfectly convinced are artificial. Like, there is nothing. It's grey. The first thing when you cross the bridge is a Sainsbury's warehouse. And that was the most interesting thing I saw in that entire place. Like, there's just a warehouse for Sainsbury's and nothing else. The most exciting part of
the most
exciting part about being in Kent was when I got to leave. Like, I had a McDonald's because I was going home at 1 a.m. and I was like, oh, a Kent McDonald's, doesn't that sound great? It'll be like eating drywall. And it was worse somehow. I had a chicken legend meal, as any normal person would, and it was soggy. Why was it soggy? And I don't mean the bread was soggy, the chicken was soggy. Kent bad. It's kind of like a Lego city.
I'm looking away to say it as if someone please save me.
Don't like Kent.
We've both got hatreds on this podcast. He's Kent. I've got Biffy Clyro.
There was a great festival in Kent, Rambling Man, but I mean, maybe it's a reflection on Kent itself. I don't know if the people who run it live in Kent. They cancelled this year. It's like they cancelled obviously in 2000. Some things went ahead in 2020. Sorry, 2020. I'm getting old. And they cancelled in 2020. They cancelled in 2021. A lot of things went ahead in 2021, but they were like the earlier part of July, I think. So that's fair enough. How much of an old person do you have to be to cancel a festival this year? It was like, oh, just to be absolutely sure. It's like, come on, man. Like, exactly. 2020 are calling and they want their fucking festival cancellations back.
If they want Kent Festival to be good, move it somewhere else and call it something else.
Hey, don't call it.
Disassociate it from Kent.
It's not called Kent Festival.
Kent might be. It is now, right? If it's in Kent, it's Kent Festival.
No, Rambling Man. I mean, yeah, maybe the fact that it cancelled is evidence that Kent has got shit up because when it started about like probably 7 or 8 years ago, and like the first year they had the Scorpions on, And then next year they had like White Snake in Europe and Dream Theater and stuff. Actually, Dream Theater I think was the first year.
That's not too bad.
But, so it was a good solid sort of not huge like fucking Metallica, but like the next level down where there were like 15,000-20,000 people. Yeah, it's just quite lame.
To be fair, it sounded like it redeemed itself, especially with Europe.
Yeah. Europe were excellent. I saw Europe's comeback show after 13 years. Sweden Rock Festival. It was their first big show they'd done since like the early 90s, where they were like out of step because they were very, very 80s at the time, and they tried to do one more album in the early 90s and then kind of fizzled out. And then their comeback show at Sweden Rock in, I think it was 2004, was absolutely phenomenal. And I knew more of the words to all their songs than all the Swedish people there. So I was quite proud of myself. Wow. They were all looking at me, they're like, "You're not even Swedish. How do you know all these fucking songs? We only know the Final Countdown and Rock the Night. Like, what are you doing? Why do you know the verses to this fucking album track?" And I was like, fucking love Europe. Great band. And their new stuff's great as well. The new stuff's heavier, but really good.
Yeah.
So
I haven't listened to it.
Thumbs up for Europe.
Yeah. So, moral of the story, burn Kent. Worst county. I won't drag on this too much longer, right? But as any normal teenage boy would, I was looking at the flags for the counties the other day because, you know, what's more rock and roll than that? And Buckinghamshire definitely has the best county flag. It's a goose with a chain. That's cold, man. Like, just a goose and it has a chain. It's great. Like, if there's no punch,
goes about looking at flags.
Yeah, it's because I was doing some research on Kent. Surprisingly, it came up with no results. So I thought, yeah, might as well look at the flag since Kent's history is, and that's it. So yeah, but okay, that's Kent talk for today over. That's gonna be my new segment.
Kent
news. I'll write that down.
It's got to be part of the show every month, every week, every month. I don't know how often you guys do it. Even
try every week. It's more like every month.
Give me a better. It's probably going to kick me out again. It's probably going to do take number 5.
Right. Okay, Tom, fire off a question.
I wouldn't get me to fire off a fucking question because I'm connecting.
Turn into Mr. Roboto.
How much longer?
God. Right, while Tom's doing that, I've got my emergency questions set up here.
Okay.
So you've just came home from a very long day. The fridge is like nearly empty, but you have bread and a few ingredients. What is the ultimate sandwich? Like, what is the best sandwich you could make here?
Depends what I've got, really.
Oh, anything that can go in this sandwich you conveniently have.
Well, yeah, this is gonna be a weird one because we're vegan, so we're probably going to be massively disagreed with, especially after the chicken story in Kent. But putting that aside, I would say, God, sandwiches. You definitely got to have your cheese. We have our Violife stuff that to me tastes exactly like cheese. Yeah. I always have to margarine, butter, sort of bread.
I always have to butter the bread. People who don't butter the bread are sadists.
Sophie's half French, so like they're against it. It's all like shoving cheese in baguettes and you're done with it. So, but yeah, I'd say so. Obviously that goes on. I'm a big fan of bagels.
Oh, bagels are great.
I'm a big bagel guy. So yeah, then so I guess do you guys put the meat or meat substitute first or the cheese? But which way around do you?
I honestly don't think
Or
it
do you
matters
not
all
do
that
that?
much. I believe in there's an order you should layer a burger, but I don't think a sandwich matters as much.
Yeah. So yeah, the cheese, the slice of fake. We have a lot of the corn fake ham at the moment. That is really good pastrami stuff as well. That you can now get. It's all getting really good. It was terrible 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, like it's just more and more. I mean, obviously, as it becomes more of a common thing, like you see so many substitutes that people go, "Oh, it tastes like basically the same."
Yeah. Even like I've been fooled. I've come back from like burger places. There was one in America where they make the entire menu. You can flip over the menu, the same menu but vegan.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I had this beef sort of beef cheese toasty thing, but all vegan. And I went back to the pub we were in and started eating it. I'm like, they gave me the wrong one. This is real. They've given me the wrong one. They said, I've had things since, like because they had that stuff slightly before in the States, I think, like Beyond Meats and all that. And I've come back here, and now since then we've Sophie's made some incredible burgers out of the Beyond stuff, and Richmond do really good stuff. Anyway, I'll stop going on about that. But yeah, it's so that would be it. I've got to have some lettuce in a sandwich. It's just got to offset the
crunch.
Exactly, yeah. You get the crunch. So it'll be the cheese, the meat, the lettuce. I'm a big coleslaw guy.
I do love coleslaw. Yeah.
Sophie tends to go for the mayo. I'll go for the mayo when there's no coleslaw, but so it'll be those three layers: lettuce, coleslaw, sometimes tomato. Depends if we've got any in.
Mm-hmm. And what
maybe another layer of cheese or the meat. What was that?
What bread? What are you going for here? Like, what is your bread of choice?
I think that I'd have to take back one of those. There's only so much you can get. Pardon me. There's only so much you can get in a bagel. I would say so. But if I could get all of that in a bagel, I think that would be
optimum.
The other one is tuna baguettes.
For me, you get 50-50 bread, butter it. You get some onions, like some lightly caramelized onions, whack some cheese on, some onions, top slice of bread, and that's as good as it gets.
Sophie's great at caramelizing the onions. We tend to have that more in the burgers when we make a burger. That'll be the heart.
I accidentally discovered it was my favorite. Where I was looking for dinner one night, I just had like a long boxing training session, so I just wanted to get some food in me, and I opened the freezer and there was just nothing because we had a shop coming, so it was empty. Right. But there was one thing at the very, very bottom, just a pack of frozen onions. So I was like, I'll make do. So I chucked them in a pan for a few minutes. We had a little bit of cheese left over. I just put it on some bread and was like, yeah, that's the bits. That's quality. Hey, this is a music podcast.
And we're talking about sandwiches.
Talking about caramelizing onions.
Correction. You two are talking about sandwiches and caramelizing onions. I've just been lagging out for the past 5 minutes.
Go on, Tom. What's your dream sandwich?
Now you're asking. I'm not one for sandwiches, to be fair. Wow. I don't eat them often. I'm more.
Or it can be a roll or a baguette. We're very open-minded here.
I mean, I'm more of a pasty person when I'm having my lunch.
Oh, pasty.
Pasties.
No, great
pasta at first.
I do like pasta, but pasties, as in like Greg's pasties.
Oh, you've got to love a good pasta bake. Pasta bakes are quality.
Pasta bakes are great. We haven't done a bake in a long time. They've started making good vegan cheese that you can do bakes with now. Like finally, like stuff like Applewood's.
Yeah, my mum always buys this like cheese and bacon one, and it's quality. I think there's a vegan option as well, but yeah, it's the bits.
There's everything now. There's future tuna, which is unbelievable. It's good. I feel like I'm doing an advert for my little Go Vegan flask that I've got there.
I'll make sure to make you like center screen for this part, and I'll have big flashcards going up.
Yeah.
Buy now for a cheap price.
Drop it over, all the different things that have come out. Yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah, no, back to music, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Before I go off on one, I could go off on this for ages and try and convert people. But no.
I told Tom 4 episodes in it will stop being a music podcast anyway, so it's fine.
It doesn't matter. It all gets sidetracked at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
But what do you see like as the future for Star Circus? Really, like what is your end goal, so to speak?
I'd like really bring it back to how it started. It's really about songs for me. I just I'd like the songs for people to just enjoy and appreciate the songs, whether there's humor in the song or it's something a bit deeper. It's a collection of songs that I just wanted people to hear, really. Really, I the album will be out this year, and I hope that people buy it first of all, so I can make some of the money that I put in back.
Definitely, yeah.
I don't know whether we'll make a profit. We've invested quite a lot, but if I can, and then just really excited to keep to bring it more together as a band and to write more songs, put an album together more as a band album, because the guys who played on the album, with the exception of Sophie, who actually doesn't play bass on it, but does some backing vocals and some keyboards on the album. The guys that are in the band now, we've just got a new drummer. That's something I probably can announce. That's going out.
You heard it here first, Uncensored Podcast.
Yeah, there we go. So we've got a lot of people are aware we're going to do a farewell post. Our drummer Thomas is going to be leaving the country towards the end of the year. Our old drummer, and he kind of left, and we had to find someone quickly to do a tour. And we got a session drummer in. He kind of saved the tour, did a pretty good job. We've got a guy called Alex now, and he's done 3 rehearsals with us. And so he's joined.
Bear with me, please. Bear with me.
That's all good. He's joined, and we had John Crampton replaced our previous guitarist Ricardo. He's a great friend of ours. He's moved to Montenegro, which, if you're looking blank, I didn't know where that was either. It's actually it's a country in the Balkans with a population of about a couple of 100,000, I think. And so he's moved out there. So got a kind of newish lineup. John's already done about 12 gigs with us because we did a tour with him. Just coming together and writing another EP and another album, and just getting a great collection of songs out and touring the country, the continent, and the world. Hopefully.
He's muted himself, I believe. I don't know why, but I'm assuming that something's happened.
Right. Okay.
I got a clue, but
as well. So just be
I'm really hoping not. I'm just trying to get it all together. Hopefully, I'm going by notes, so
it's going to be my podcast by the end of it.
By the end of it, it'll just be you. Hopefully not. One of us is back. I don't know what's going on with him, but trying to fight go-to. I think I've spoken about go-to music already. To be fair, I've been looking at a load of different bands now lately.
My apologies.
Oh, he's back.
Here we go. He's back. He's back.
He's in that corner now. He was.
He's
It all
moved.
looks different probably when it's put up. That's how
Oh yeah, I think it will be in one spot.
That's where he really went. That's where he really went. He just decided, you know what, I'm just going to move.
Yeah, I was just pulling.
I mean, I've been trying to. I've been trying to keep it all interesting, but it's not. It doesn't work with me. It only works with you, Roland.
Sorry.
It only works with you, keeping people entertained. Because I can't keep people entertained. I've just found that out.
It's okay.
How long
I'm the podcast
at
Batman. You're the podcast Robin. That's how it works.
Yeah. What we're looking at the moment, Riley, like timing wise, we got to fit. We got to fit in for the amazing final question.
We are just about an hour, so let's stretch it another 10-15. We can do that. Tommy,
in that case, no, I reckon we should get out the old the final. I wouldn't say the final question. I'd just say the most interesting question.
Yeah, my question.
No, it's a group question.
No, I came up with the question
because we're doing it every week.
Whatever. So my question.
Then.
Okay, so you have the opportunity to make a band with anybody dead or alive. You don't have to be in it. It could just be like a sandbox. You can have 4 or 5, even 6 people if you want a keyboardist and a rhythm guitarist. That's not necessary. You can have a saxophonist if you really want. But so dead or alive, you need at least your core fundamentals. So a bassist, a drummer, a singer, and a guitarist. At least one guitarist. So what's your dream band looking like? That was such a long-winded way to say that, frankly.
I don't know. I spent so much time thinking about who I'm going to get out of people I know, people who don't want too much money or anything. So, fucking hell, there's a crotch.
Nothing.
Just continue.
Okay.
Just ignore him.
1 minute, I'll be back.
So a live, I guess I'll go for a live people first because then I can just.
You can mix the dead and the alive, by the way.
I can.
And the dead will still be like playing. They won't just be there, just doing nothing.
just rotting in the corner.
They've been given a second wind for this big gig. Playing at
Freddie Mercury, but 20 years after he died in the band.
Oh God!
I mean, please.
Freddie was, well, let's do the dead one. Freddie was incredible. We'll have him. We'll have him.
So he's your singer, I assume, or are you going to put him on drums? That'll be a real interesting choice.
Him on drums, Eddie Van Halen on vocals.
What's going on? I have not heard of
beautiful band.
I haven't heard
Paul McCartney on saxophone.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Let's have.
Tom, write it down.
Freddie on vocals.
Yeah.
Freddie on vocals and occasional piano, because he's got to do the occasional piano and then leap up and get his half mic stand and do the whole march around the stage. We got so Eddie Van Halen on lead guitar and occasional backing vocals. I'm just doing dead ones at the moment. Let's do dead ones. Let's imagine it's happening somewhere on another plane. Who's a good dead bass player? I've gone blank. I've blanked on dead bass players.
Does it count if they were dead but are no longer dead?
Nicky Six.
I was going to say Nicky Six. Yeah,
he died.
He died like twice, didn't he?
Yeah, probably more.
I love Nicky Six. I'm actually, hang on, I'm in the middle of reading his book that came out the other month.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah, I read the Heroin Diaries. I read This Is Gonna Hurt. I read The Dirt, so I thought I should probably read this one too. So,
I've done The Dirt and the Heroin Diaries.
the Heroin Diaries is such an interesting read.
It's very dark. It's very
So dark, but like I think that's why it's so good, because it doesn't pull its punches. Like, it knows what it's trying to tell. Like it's showing the grim reality that everyone goes, "Carl, look, he's a rock star. He's like proper awesome. He's going on stage and stuff." But really, like behind the door, especially when it opens up about how, like, when he goes to massive spells of paranoia, where he'll just be in a cupboard with with a gun, like thinking someone's outside. It gets so dark, which is why it's so interesting, because it really shows just the morbid reality of like substance abuse.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I've read it years ago, but it's very. I mean, there's some stuff that's obviously what he's hallucinating, and so it's kind of fantastical and stuff. That kind of lends itself to like, what is the truth, what isn't, kind of thing. But I mean, there are people who are like, did he really keep a diary whilst he was like fucked? But
the fact it is good that he didn't, like, it's not a book trying to glamorize it. It's very much a book of, look how shit my life was here. Like, which is why it impacted so many people. And I mean, I had the like the newer edition for like the anniversary, where so it's got a bit extra of what he's done afterwards, after all the rehab, and how the book has like affected people. And that in itself is so interesting. Just because
I have to read that, because I've only read
that. Because when, like, especially in the 80s, where substance abuse was such a massive issue, like having, like, for so many people, it goes into how, like, your idols, like, to see your idol be vulnerable and going through your struggles, like, it shows how eye-opening it was for those people who looked up to him, to be like, oh, I mean, if he's like, I relate to this. If he can get clean, maybe I can too, kind of thing. So it was so interesting to read. Yeah,
no, it's great, but the Dirt's great fun as well.
Oh,
dead bass player Lemmy obviously is dead.
Oh, of course, yeah. But that's actually the bass player I chose for my band. So
I didn't hear anything.
Whether Lemmy, Freddie, and Van Halen, that would be quite a weird. I mean, I don't know. Lemmy would be a bit too kind of punk for that lineup. I don't know whether it would. You could put all these people in a band, and then it could just sound crap, because they don't gel together at all. But let's go for Lemmy, because probably one of the most iconic dead bass players. You could have kind of interesting vocal switches with him and Freddie going on as well. And on drums, well, there's so many. Probably John Bonham.
Yeah,
I think John Bonham would be a good choice. I think that's a good bunch of dead people. Should I do a live people as well?
If you want to, we've got a bit of time. So,
well, do you want to do a live? Who is your list?
So my list for vocals, for me, that was an easy choice. It was always going to be Miles Kennedy. I love Miles Kennedy's voice. Like, it's got such a unique tone to him. I thought that was a clear. And then for lead guitar, I went for Herman Lee, just because.
Herman's a very old friend of mine.
Really?
Yeah, I'll try and get him on the podcast. They'll probably say no.
Oh, that would be insane, because I'm such a massive fan of all of his stuff.
My old band, we toured with Dragon Force in end of 2004. That's how old I am. Wow. But yeah, we were my old band, Renegade Playboys. We did supposed to be an 11 show tour. It ended up being a 10 show tour for us, because our bus exploded.
Oh, Jesus. That's a rock and roll story.
That's sort of an exaggeration, but not. Basically, we were driving and then smoke came through the bus. Oh, we had this old hospital bus that we bought for about 500 quid or something. We were like, oh, that's great. We can pile all the stuff in the back. We can sleep in it if we have to. And then we did one. We'd done a couple of short tours in it and a few local shows, and then we did a warm-up gig with new bass player in Wakefield, and our opening gig was all the way up in Glasgow, sold out at the Cat House.
Oh, wow.
And it was a sold-out show. It's Dragon Force's second album. I think it was the one after the one with Valley of the Damned on it, probably, but around that area, through Fire and Flames and all that stuff. Herman, just me and him, we'd known each other from like around London for ages. He was in a band with our old drummer and stuff, and he was like, he came and saw us, liked us, and he was like, do a tour. We're like a hair metal band, and we thought we'd be terrible.
Oh, wow.
And we thought everyone would hate us because we weren't metal enough, and we ended up selling out of all our merch. That's a whole other story about it. But we're driving, we've just done this warm-up gig with our new bass player. It's gone really well, and then just smoke comes through our van, and we get put over to the side. Van won't start. We're about fucking 150 miles from Glasgow, and we've got sound check in like 3 hours, and I have to call them and say we can't make it. We're getting towed to Sedgefield, which is the other side of the north, about another 100 miles away, where they can repair our van. So we get there, they can repair our van for $3,000. So we were like, right, can't do that.
Yeah.
Bought a transit for like 700 quid to finish the tour. Had to miss the Glasgow show. So we end up doing the next 10 dates, and there's a whole load of stuff with car crashes, we could make like a Spinal Tap trilogy out of like the first 5 days of that tour. It was ridiculous. Wow. But it was, looking back, everything went wrong, but it was the greatest. Being on tour is the greatest thing. Just doing shows.
I can imagine.
Playing the London Astoria, playing the Bristol Beer Keller, Bradford Rios, all these venues that don't exist anymore, but were amazing.
Exactly. And plus, I mean, being on tour with like Dragon Force, that must have been like unbelievable.
They're like musically, they're not the most. They're quite geeky in a way.
Yeah, but I love that. Like they made a Celine Dion parody, did they not? Like they covered, that was so, and it was so good. That's the thing.
But they're such rock and roll guys, and they were so disappointed because it's such geeky music, and the whole theme of the tour was times are tough, because basically there were no girls watching them. They're all single and trying to, oh man, like Sam particularly with his Aussie accent, he's like, oh man, it's sort of Kiwi accent. He's like, times are tough, man. It's like there's no fucking, if I can say it on here, there's no fucking pussy around it, man. Like, and then like, and finally in Bristol, he kisses this Welsh girl. I hope this isn't too X-rated for this particular podcast.
It's fine.
He's
I wasn't going to put it on YouTube Kids anyway, so
he finally gets a girl. He's kissing her, and I'm like, I see him afterwards, and you know, she was quite pretty and everything, and I'm like, oh man, times aren't so tough for you, Sam. And he's like, fucking hell, times are tougher than ever. She's gone back to Wales, and I got a stiffy and nowhere to put it. Ridiculous. Oh, God. Never forget that. Nearly 20 years later, just great.
Yeah, but I mean, for like, not even for the guitarist, I could, even if he couldn't play, he seems like such, like Herman Lee seems like such a great guy. Yeah, like, I've watched like interviews and stuff that he'd just be fun to have around. And then plus, how many people can play something at the velocity of Through the Fire and Flames?
It's ridiculous.
Not many. So that he'd be such an asset to that band, because he's one of a kind in that respect as well.
He'd be perfect for this podcast as well, because like in their early days, they all had so many racks of gear that someone would always break down at one of their gigs. It became like a thing. There was one time I saw them in Sweden. By the end of the show, it was literally like the bass player and the keyboard player were the only two that were like working. Their drummer had quit 3 days earlier, so they had some Swedish band playing this electric drum kit that sounded like a fucking typewriter. Like, that's all you could hear, like this fast kind of like ridiculous cheap electric drum kit, and they're playing this outdoor stage in Sweden. both guitars are cutting out simultaneously, the wireless mic. And it's just like the bass player in like a wash of keyboards throughout the whole thing by the end. It's like, oh. But yeah, so cutting out is, you know, something they're no strangers to, basically.
Clearly.
So you got
definitely.
Before we run out, you got Miles, you got Herman.
Yeah, Miles, Herman. Oh God, I'm trying to remember now. I put Lemmy on bass because obviously, and then who'd I put on drums? Tom, who'd I put on drums? Oh, it was Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Oh, name's slipping.
Bill Ward.
Bill Ward, that was it. Yeah, I put Bill Ward on drums.
If he could keep up with Herman. Lemmy could probably keep up with Herman. He's probably good.
True. And then on rhythm, I'm pretty sure I put Jimi Hendrix because I just want to have Jimi Hendrix in my band.
Yeah. Don't have him on rhythm, have him on like dual leads. Like, you know, like
yeah, that's true. I'll have dual leads then.
Yeah,
because Jimi Hendrix is too talented to be put in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that'd be a strong band, and just like the people you have there, it's going to be a great time anyway. Like,
yeah,
so definitely.
You're right with Lemmy and Herman knocking it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Those two
that'd be well good.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be a sound time.
But to be fair, I think I had more of an 80s band kind of feel, minus the drummer. I mean, Steven Tyler, start off with the singer, a bit of Aerosmith for you. Who was it? Tom Morello on bass from Rage Against the Machine. I said Taylor Gray from, Tom Morello.
He plays guitar though. I mean, he probably can play bass.
He probably can. So I always thought he was always on bass. I don't pay attention to Rage Against the Machine much, but now he plays bass.
Would you? Would you not have the bass player? No, would you not have the bass
now
player?
I know. Yeah, exactly. That's now my bassist, the bassist from Rage Against the Machine. But Taylor Gray from The Treatment, because I fucking love the man. He's a fucking legend, and he's a very good guitarist. And then the two like proper metal wild cards, I put Jason Hook, the punch guitarist, and then I put the Rev Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay, the drummer from Avenged Sevenfold.
Because Avenged Sevenfold is not probably one of my fans.
He managed to get through all of that.
If you can hear me, if I cut out.
Without cutting out too much.
What?
Steven Tyler's a good shout.
I was happy with Steven Tyler. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been obsessed with Aerosmith, thanks to doing all the download headlines, and it's just Aerosmith after Aerosmith after Aerosmith.
Yeah,
we've got it all lined up for another episode, a future episode.
Definitely. Right. So this one's running out of time, and I feel like if we start a third one, it will like end too short. So I'm gonna wrap it up now, even though I feel like I could talk for hours more. But you know, it's how it goes. And also I think Tom's internet has had enough at this point. So
yeah, I've got to
think
who knows, maybe down the line there'll be a sequel episode. So
yeah,
because this has been great. Like it's been a really good episode, I think. So do you have
any minus the cutting.
Yeah, true. But do you have any last minute things you want to quickly say, or?
I don't know. Plug the single if you want.
I will. I'll make sure. I'll make sure to put it in the little top card.
Bridges out on the 26th. So
go stream that.
The videos. Videos going to be on YouTube, and I think we're just going to have the single just on our Bandcamp. So it's just one place. People to go to it. Just keep it simpler this time. Yeah. And then we'll be announcing when the album's out then.
Great. So stay tuned
for
that.
Peeled.
Righty ho. Well, thank you everyone very much for watching. Please subscribe because this one was really good. A little less chaotic, but we had some really good talks on this one. So make sure you go subscribe to Star Circus, stream all their stuff. And we shall see you next week. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Cheers.
Where's the button?